My name is Chang, and I'm from IBM Software Group, and I lead our business strategy and development for emerging technologies. I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here and speak to you a bit about new technology that IBM has been developing over the past couple of years, and it's called Smarter Cities. And Smarter Cities is part of our overall vision of making the planet smarter. So we call this Smarter Planet. And if you are to ever to travel to the US or some other parts of the world, you will see signs of what we've done in terms of trying to make the planet smarter. We all know the world is getting flatter, but we also believe the world is also getting smarter. So with that, I'm going to start off with a 30-second video that shows you the essence of Smarter Planet. I have a drug problem. 10% of the world's medicine is counterfeit,
affecting over 1 billion people a year. On a smarter planet, we're building intelligence into things.
So we can follow this medicine from the factory to the distribution center.
To the pharmacy.
And know it's the real thing.
Keeping counterfeits off the shelves.
In places like the US,
Tanzania,
and India,
smarter medicine is safer medicine.
That's what I'm working on.
I'm an IBMer.
Let's build a smarter planet.
Okay, so in that 30-second spot, I hope you got the gist of what we're considering Smarter Planet, which is we are taking what's happening in the physical world, we are taking that information and sharing with other parties in your supply chain and be able to identify, authenticate, track goods, and be able to know where it came from and that it is genuine. So whether it is drugs, food, automotive parts, or airline parts, what we're doing is we're taking what's happening in the physical world and we're bringing it into the IT world. So the topic today is smarter cities, and I think it's very appropriate to discuss this topic in Doha, Qatar, because you are building a existing city and you're improving it, you're building new neighborhoods, new towns, and I think there's a fantastic opportunity to build it from scratch and build it smart. So I'd like to take you on a little journey of how IBM came to this place of being able to build a smarter city. So why smarter cities and why now? We know the population growth is increasing. But if you look at the second bullet, the biggest increase is actually in the urban areas. We're expected to double the population in urban areas from now until 2050. So what that means is it's going to put enormous amount of pressure in existing infrastructure. Not only are the population growing just naturally, but in many cases, for example, in places like Southeast Asia, there's population movement from the rural area, from farmers, moving into the cities. And that's going to put large amount of pressure in the infrastructure and the services that cities have to deliver to its residents. There's economic pressure. Cities in the developed world, so for example, I live in Washington, D.C. in the US, we've underinvested in city infrastructure. There's several reasons. One is funding, so lots of cities and governments are strapped. especially under the current economic condition. The second is it's really difficult to rip up your current infrastructure and lay down new ones and still allow people to go to work, do their job, get to places, and enjoy the services that they have today. So there's a bit of a challenge on how to go about upgrading your city infrastructure. Then there's the environmental conditions. So we know the energies that we consume today have a finite limit. Now, there's some renewable energy that we're all looking to harness, but today the technology doesn't exist to be able to supply all the cities all over the world simply with renewable energy. So we have to be better stewards of the energy that we have today. So it's about sustainability, and the city is the biggest consumer of all of the natural resources, which means the energy for electricity, water consumption. Cities create the most waste. So it is important and imperative for cities to behave in a more sustainable manner. And then finally, there's the technology component. We now have what we call instrumentation. There are video cameras, there are smart water meters. Everyone nowadays have cell phones. Internet is accessible by billions of people. So technology has now come to a point where we believe that you can build smarter cities and you can build smarter planets. So there are many visions of smarter city. A well-planned city, a healthy and safe city, a sustainable eco-city, a cultural convention hub, city of digital innovation, city of commerce. Does this sound like a city that you like to live in? It does to me, and there are other cities in the world that are trying to get to this place of being able to provide all of the services that residents require and be able to do it in a sustainable, eco-friendly manner. So when we talk about the services that government needs to provide, it's around intelligent transportation systems. Again, I live in Washington, D.C., which is the second worst traffic in the U.S. An average person commutes, I think, 53 minutes each way every day. That's a lot of inefficiency and wasted resources because they're simply sitting in traffic. Public safety. We all know where there are incidents in the city, you want to be able to get your emergency vehicles, you want to be able to notify the right authorities at the right time, and at the city level, you want to know what's happening in your city. Water management, and I think this region, out of all the regions, water is just as scarce and important as is gas or oil. And the ability to effectively capture and manage water as a precious resource is going to be a critical issue for this region in the future. Building management, be able to build more efficient buildings. Obviously, especially when you have new construction, I think the opportunity to build more efficient buildings is there, and this is an opportunity that you should seize. Environmental management, I talked about, and also energy management, where we are able to use less energy and provide just as good a service as before. So we think we can do this by leveraging the smarter planet. And the 30-second video that I started with highlights the three simple concepts. Our world is becoming instrumented, meaning there are cameras, there are sensors, there are devices that are feeding information somewhere to someone. Our world is also becoming more interconnected. What do I mean by that? We can have a conversation with anyone in the world anytime we have access to the internet. We can get on the internet, we can get on Facebook, we can talk on Skype. The world has become much, much smaller due to the internet and our ability to access it. So when we have instrumentation that are interconnected, we believe that's going to drive more intelligent behaviors. Which means that you now have information that you couldn't have even 10 years ago or 15 years ago. And you have access to lots more granular real-time data that you can make better use to have a more effective supply chain, to have more efficient buildings, to run more safe and environmentally friendly city. So why does IBM think that we can actually build a smarter planet? Well, let me share a bit of a history about IBM.